Greetings again, fellow Indians, and welcome to another episode of Let's React Blindly, at least for myself, react blindly to the soundtrack of Epic the Musical. I am once again here, joined by my good friend Alexandra, as we finally move on to Act 2 officially. And this, I believe, is Saga number 6. And I didn't know what the name of the saga was going into this, but looking at my screen right now, I'm not ready for it. Not ready for the name for this. So, Alexandra, why don't you take it away from here?
All right. So today we're starting the Thunder Saga.
Okay. I see the
And
word suffering, so I was like, "Oh, this is the suffering saga." Was the
no,
were the
it's
other
the
sagas
Thunder
not
Saga.
okay? I was like, was the other sagas not suffering enough? Like, they have to have a whole dedicated suffering saga. Okay, well,
Right.
the
Okay.
Thunder Saga. Okay, that makes
Yes.
me a little bit better. Sort of
All
gives us a.
right.
Okay, well, based on your action, like, no, maybe not.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
it's
All
okay.
right.
But based on the name Thunder, I have an idea of who might appear during the saga, which is I
Yeah,
think is
I
pretty
wonder.
exciting. I think that's exciting. So
Yeah. All right. So we're starting with the first song of the Thunder Saga, Suffering. Here we go.
okay. Ooh.
Don't you miss me more than you know? Then jump in the water and kiss me. Penelope, I've told you this before. You know I'm afraid of the water. I'll make sure that you are safe and sound. Come play with me and our daughter, and let's watch our love leave the ground. Oh, I would, but I'd be suffering trying to float the whole time. I would take the suffering from you. As good as it sounds, right here I'm just fine. I can take the suffering from you. You know that I prefer my feet on the ground. I will take the suffering from you. Fine, but only if you answer a question or two. Of course. Okay, so let's say I was on the run, or hiding, from, I don't know, Poseidon. And let's say he blocked the way home with giant waves and giant storms. Oh no. How am I to evade him? How am I to get home? Which route should I take? Where am I supposed to go? He will chase you high and low, so find a place he'd never go. The one way you'll get home is sailing where he's scared to roam. Oh, it's through the lair of Scylla. This is your only way home, the lair of Scylla. But Scylla has a cost. Well, you asked and now you know. Now jump in the water. Penelope, why? You know I'm too shy and terrified. I would take the suffering from you. For you I would die, but can't you let me stay dry? I can take the suffering from you. You should come onto the ship. We'll jump at the same time. I will take the suffering from you. The things I do for you.
Oops. No, I didn't want to do that. All right. So,
I think my favorite part of the whole song was when um, Odysseus was asking her those two questions, and then she goes, "Oh no."
yeah.
Like the oh no that part
Oh
I
no.
laughed out loud, oh no, but in the way that the person animated the facial expressions of you know
Penelope.
Penelope, she's like,
Penelope.
so it's like, okay, come on, let's get on with it. Like, I love that
Yeah.
little hint because, it it did kind of give, I guess, give away for the people who are already familiar. I mean, it's not if they're already familiar with the lore. At the very beginning, you see a mermaid, and in Greek mythology, mermaids aren't like Ariel from Disney's Little Mermaid. They're a little bit more evil, or at least more dangerous than the mermaids that might be more classical, at least for the people around here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I already kind of knew, and it was insinuated by the art of the animatics, the artist who created the animatics, that this is not actually Penelope, and the person that's disguising themselves as Penelope has ill intent. I like the small details, like you kind of saw some scales on the back of her neck. You saw the kind of the claws in her hands. So that was really cool that I noticed from the animatics that just sort of gave that hint that this is, not what it appears to be at face value. And I don't. It's hard to tell whether Odysseus is onto her or not. If he's aware that this is not Penelope, because why would Penelope be out here in the middle of the ocean? Well, why would he even think that that was her in the first place?
Sirens are
But
powerful.
but sirens are sirens are very powerful. So then she mentioned Scylla, which again, for people who are very familiar with Greek mythology, know that there's Scylla and Charybdis. So Scylla and Charybdis is a thing that's going to be coming up soon. I forgot which one was which, but we're going to find out very soon, I'm sure. Yeah, it was a nice shift now that we're starting Act 2. It seemed like a nice shift going from the end of the last song of Act 1, and then now we're coming to here where things are, at least the tone of the song is more playful, peaceful, pleasant, but again, knowing what I know, that's not gonna last very long. So,
So
go
there
ahead.
are some musical Easter eggs. Remind me to talk about them after the
Okay,
next song, okay?
okay,
Because I
okay,
don't think you'll notice them, but I will point them out after the next song.
okay. I mean, now that you mentioned that, some of the um, notes, some of the melodies that was playing throughout the song sounded familiar. So I don't know if I've heard them before. It sounds like, I feel like I might have heard. Obviously, this doesn't come to a surprise. Penelope's theme
Mm-hmm.
throughout this whole song, which is makes sense because this is Penelope's figure, at least um, her image, at least. So that was probably one thing that I recognized from it. Um, I thought that the vocalist for the siren or Penelope was fine. I think that maybe we will fully see the range of the vocalist in the next song, maybe. So that's my guess. Because there wasn't anything about this singer yet in her performance that stood out, I guess. It was perfectly fine,
Mm.
but it wasn't like Cersei. Like, as soon as Cersei started singing, she had that beautiful accent, and she just like took over the room. Or even Hermes, he just took over the space. This one, she was there, and of course, obviously, she was the center of what was happening in the plot, but she hasn't taken over. But I anticipate that might happen in the next song. So I don't have a lot of strong opinions about this song because I feel like this is the appetizer that's
Right,
supposed to set up what happens next. So,
right. All right,
okay,
let's move on to the next song. If they would listen to me. There we go.
different
All right,
beast. Okay,
so this is the firm beast. Beast. I'm sorry,
okay, yeah,
pronunciation. All
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, let's go.
Let's caught the charade, you are no wife of mine. You've been trying to take my life this whole time. I know underwater there are packs of you hiding. Yeah, I know exactly what you are. A siren. My real wife knows I'm not scared of the water. And my real wife knows I don't have a daughter. But while you were so focused on turning my men into snacks, you didn't notice that your friends got snatched.
What?
We are a different beast now. We are the ones who feast now. No more of us deceased, cause we won't take more suffering from you. We are the man-made monsters. We are the ones who conquer. You are a threat no longer. We won't take more suffering from you. We've been away from home for about 12 years or so. First we slayed in our own war, and now we're here with more foes. While on the run from Poseidon, we found a ship with no crew. I realized nearby there were sirens, singing sailors to their dooms. We filled our ears with beeswax, that's how we resist your song. You pretended to be my wife, so I just played along. I read your lips and phrases, scanning for information. Sirens know about every route and horizon. Now I know how to get back to my island. We are a different beast now. We are the ones who feast now. No more of us deceased, cause we won't take more suffering from you. We are the man-made monsters. We are the ones who conquer. You are a threat no longer. We won't take more suffering from you.
Spare us. Oh, spare us, please.
Why? So you can kill the next group of sailors in this part of the sea? Nah, you wouldn't have spared me. I made a mistake like this. It almost cost my life. I can't take more risks of not seeing my wife. Cut off their tails! We're ending this now. Throw their bodies back in the water. Let them drown. He is a different beast now. He is the one who feasts now. No more of us deceased, cause he won't take more suffering from you. He is the man-made monster. He is the one who conquers. You are a threat no longer. He won't take more suffering from you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Kill them all.
Wow.
So,
That took a turn that I didn't expect. I do remember that they managed to that they did manage to get past the sirens, but I didn't remember that they just killed them.
in the
Um,
original?
in the original, I
Oh
didn't
no,
know
they
that they did
didn't.
that. Oh, they didn't in the original.
No, this is Jorge's doing.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's
Yeah.
why I didn't expect that because I don't remember that happening. I know that they did do they did outsmart them. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
put the wax in their ears, so I knew that part. And so I liked that because for once it seemed like okay, they actually were able to get one step ahead of their antagonist, I guess in this case. So it was very refreshing, I think, to see them have a win, I guess, in that aspect that they were able to, in addition to Cersei, they were able to sort of one up them. Um, but yeah, the part where they've got them all round up and then they're asking for mercy, and his response was, "Oh, you know, you're just gonna kill off the next group of people that come by," which probably is true. Like, to be quite honest, and when they say, "Oh, please spare us," that could have been a ruse as well, Because I mean, what else were they supposed to do if they're gonna, in order to survive, is like lie their way out. So whether they're genuine or not, um, by by the time you get to this point in Odysseus' story, you get it. You understand, like, yeah, because like it's risky to let them go, because what if they're lying? They could just attack you outright, which has happened, time and time again, when you show mercy to people, which again is why I feel like the wise thing to do is for everyone to everyone to sort of find a way to coexist if possible. But I don't know how strict sirens' diets are. Like, do they have to eat human flesh? Is that something that they need to do to survive? I don't know. And if it is, then that's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to solve that problem. So yeah, it was brutal, and but at the same time, I don't blame Odysseus. Do I feel bad for the sirens? Yeah, but ultimately no. Yeah, but ultimately no. Because on one hand, they can't help what they are, and they can't help what they do to have to survive. Um, but at the same time, it, if the tables were turned, who's to say they wouldn't have done the exact same thing if they were in the opposite, if it was flipped. So that's just the harsh reality of how things are, I guess, in Greek mythology, and sometimes, unfortunately, in life as well, in real life as well. So
Right. So yeah. So oh, sorry. So when the musical was coming out, because the musical didn't come out, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the musical didn't come out on its entirety like right away.
yeah,
Jorge was releasing the sagas like one by one,
yeah.
you know, and he released only the audio and the live stream that had
Mm,
a couple of animatics, but it wasn't like this, it wasn't like this. So people, when they listened to Suffering for the first time, they weren't sure who was singing Penelope. They didn't really know if it was Penelope, because there was no visual confirmation that it was
mm,
her or not like here where you see immediately a siren just swim by.
yeah,
Know what I mean?
yeah.
So Jorge did Easter eggs musically that confirmed that it wasn't Penelope,
Mm,
because Penelope's instrument is a viola.
mm.
And if you
Okay,
listen to the song, there's no viola
at
anywhere
all.
to be found.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I like that. I like that.
yes.
Since we're talking about how when things first were releasing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to find out what was the audiences or the fans' reactions to some of the changes that Jorge is making from the original, the original Greek mythology material. Like the decision that he made to have them murder all of the sirens, like, which you said was not actually what happened in
Mm-hmm.
the classic Greek mythology. How did the fans react to that change?
Most of us love it,
Okay.
but but because a lot of the epic fans don't really know their Greek mythology, like I
Mm.
don't, I
Okay.
don't know my Greek mythology.
Okay. Okay.
But
Okay.
there's this girl. Um, I don't know if you want to credit her in the description, but I'm gonna mention her.
Sure.
She's Madam Books. Her channel is called Madam Books,
Okay.
and she is a Greek mythology. I don't know.
Expert.
Yes.
Sure.
And
Expert.
she's
Okay.
doing these videos where she reacts to epic, and she knows her stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been learning so much from her channel, and that's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the. That's why I know the sirens, don't
Mm-hmm.
actually get killed. And all of the things I've mentioned about Greek mythology, I've learned it from
Mm-hmm.
her channel.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Because, go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
No, no, finish what you're going to
Okay, okay.
say.
No, and another thing I wanted to mention musically, and this Jorge confirmed it, is that the power of the sirens in the musical is that they get their voice into your ears and they can kind of like read your thoughts.
Yeah,
That's why they're so good at luring you in. But
yeah,
since Odysseus covered his ears with beeswax,
yeah,
the power of the siren didn't fully work. So
yeah,
she kind of got things wrong. And
yeah.
that is confirmed musically and
Right.
lyrically because she said our daughter, and
Yeah,
Odysseus does not have a daughter.
yeah,
But another thing that she got wrong was the music. As I said before, she doesn't have a viola behind her,
yeah,
but her instruments are percussion, kind of like a marimba.
yeah. Marimbas. Mm-hmm.
And do you remember whose instrument that was?
I don't remember. I don't remember who was that.
Politis.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. So
she
she kind of
kind of,
mixed up
yes,
Politis with Penelope, which makes a lot of sense considering how close he was also to Politis. So yeah,
right,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. That's
yes,
cool. That's really cool. That's really neat. Huh.
yeah. Sound
Cool.
design goes a long way.
I did want to go back to my previous question about how the fans reacted because I whenever you have reinterpretations of existing stories. You know, we have all these reboots. We have they're redoing the Harry Potter films again, and now it's turning into a series. You know, and they're getting new cast members and et cetera, et cetera. So um, it's always interesting to me when the writers, the artists, like Jorge, for example, um, tweak things and they alter things and have artistic freedom, I guess, the artistic freedom to change things like this. And it just makes me wonder about that balance because I think that making some changes or putting twists to things can be a really cool thing, but it also can be very like annoying or frustrating for people, and it can cause a lot of controversy. Like without getting deep into it, since we're talking about mermaids, the most recent live action mermaid with Disney, you know, people had I'm gonna say it, people had issues with a black Ariel, you know, among other things. And again, I don't want to go down this route,
Hmm.
um, or you know, just a lot of things recently that are woke changes. These changes are woke. Why are you messing with the original, et cetera, et cetera? And so I do I like to listen to both sides. I do have a side that I do tend to lean on, but I at least try to understand where both sides are coming from. And so for something like this, it's interesting for me to hear that most people seem to be all fine and good with the change or even like the change, but part of it again might just be because they didn't know what the original was like. So, and even a lot of the Disney films in general are very different from the original material. Like the brothers Grimm, their fairy tales were very dark. Like the Little Mermaid, the original Little Mermaid story is very different with the Grimm version versus, I think it's Grimm, because I think Mermaid is Grimm if I remember correctly. But even if it's not, the original version of the Little Mermaid is very dark compared to the Disney one. Same thing with Peter Pan and various other ones. Um, so and I think it's easy for us to think fondly of those stories because at least as kids we didn't know what the original material was like. So it's like, is it where where is that balance between trying to stay true to the original material and then completely changing things around. Like another example, a recent example, just because I'm a big, it's in the same vein of musicals. Did you ever watch the movie The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman
Yes.
and Zac Efron, Zendaya? So I absolutely love that movie. I love the music. I love the songs, but the story of Barnum, because I think Hugh Jackman was Barnum. I don't remember, but I don't remember if he was Barnum or Bailey from that group. But his his character in real life was not exactly the same as what he really was, and that was there was a little bit of controversy because they felt that in general the movie kind of put Hugh Jackman's character in a better light. Like he wasn't a saint,
Mm.
but he sort of was portrayed as a more, he wasn't as flawed overall as a person people felt versus who he was in real life. But because of those changes, like I still love the movie, I still love the show, and I still love the songs. Um, so yeah, that, that's all I don't know if there was a point. I didn't know if there was a point necessarily to everything that I just said, but that's just kind of like what triggered for me when I realized that killing all the sirens is a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty large tweak, pretty large change. So
Yeah.
okay,
All right. So let's move on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention those two animatics were by Jimena Natzel.
mm-hmm.
All right.
Very good.
Yeah. So let's move on to Scylla
Scylla,
by the Almighty Gigi.
yeah, I remember.
Yes. Let's go.
Scary stuff. Okay.
The lair of Scylla. This is our only way home.
Deep down,
You're quiet today.
deep down,
Not much to say.
deep down, you hide a reason for
I
shame.
got a secret I can no longer keep.
Deep down, you know that we are the same.
I opened the windbag while you were asleep.
Leaving them feeling betrayed, breaking the bonds that you've made.
I'm so sorry.
There is no price we won't pay.
Forgive me.
We both know what it takes to survive.
Full speed ahead. Full speed ahead.
Deep down, we only care for ourselves.
Eurylochus, light up 6 torches.
Deep down, we're lonely demons from hell.
Captain, something approaches.
Hello.
Run for your life!
Run in your sorrow and fear.
go.
One thing that I thought was really interesting is when the creature was killing Odysseus's men left and right. Odysseus had like no expression. Like he didn't react. He just remained stoic and was like, okay, I mean, he kind of accepted ahead of time people are going to die. And there's no point in me worrying much about it. You just row for your life, just head for the goal, and whoever survives survives, and whoever dies, like, there's no point in me mourning for them or reacting for them, at least in that moment. So I found that really interesting, and I understand too that it's a defense mechanism, because for your own mental health you kind of have to put up that wall, and you kind of have to put up that barrier, especially because of somebody of leadership. There again, it's that balance between having empathy and having the ability to, allow yourself to be emotional. But I get it too that in that moment, in order for them to survive, he has to be focused, and he can't allow himself to be distracted, at least in such a way that it's going to cause more deaths. So it's interesting, because it's like it's hard, it's painful to watch that, but I understand. And it's the whole entire saga so far is sort of confirming, yeah, he's turning into a monster. He's going down this path, but it seemed inevitable. Like it seemed like there's, if he didn't go down this route, then they're not gonna make it ultimately. So yeah. So that was pretty. That was the first thing that struck with me. The Again, the song itself was fine. I think I was more engrossed by the animatics more than the song itself, because even though there was a lot of destruction going on, it wasn't as violent of a song versus what happened with the Cyclops or what happened with Poseidon. Everything was just like boom boom, like this person gets struck there, this person gets struck there. The Scylla was even kind of calm, not calm, but like the imagery was not calm. What I saw in the animatics wasn't calm, but the song itself, it's this weird thing where what's happening right now, but it still maintained the sense of serenity, tone wise at least, and I thought that was a little bit creepy. So yeah, I found that very interesting, and the other thing that I also wanted to point out is the design of the woman in the water that's disguised as one of Scylla's heads. It reminded me of the creepy girl from The Ring.
Right.
So I don't know if it was purposeful, but
Probably.
yeah, but girls with long wet hair like that can completely cover your face has turned into a very common image of creepiness. So yeah.
Yeah, and here in this song it gets confirmed who opened the windbag. I don't know if you listened. Heard
No, I
that
didn't
part?
hear that part.
You didn't hear it?
I didn't hear that part, I don't think. Oh, he
So
was the one who opened it.
yeah.
Okay.
So remember
Yes.
how in the beginning of the Circe
Eurylochus.
saga, yeah, Eurylochus.
Eurylochus opened it.
Remember
Okay.
how in the beginning of the Circe saga he wanted to tell Odysseus something, and Odysseus was like, "No, go scout the island. We don't have
Oh.
time for this." That's what he wanted to tell him. He
He
wanted to
wanted to
tell
tell him that
him,
he opened the bag?
yes,
Oh. Okay, that's cool that came back. I like that.
yes,
I missed that part for some reason. I didn't catch it. Okay.
You were asleep.
there it is.
Okay.
In the windbag while
Okay.
you were asleep.
Okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. And another thing is that Odysseus, ooh, great imagery right
Hmm.
there. Because Scylla has, it's the creature, and she has these other six heads.
Yeah.
And each head has to take a life. And Odysseus, what did Odysseus say? Light up six torches.
Okay.
So it was part of his plan.
For them to
So,
be the ones.
yes,
That's interesting that he also didn't care which six torches they were. He just said light up six torches, and
yes.
so whoever happened to light up six torches. So it's interesting that he didn't specifically pick.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's better that way for him because that way it's totally random and it wasn't like I didn't kill those people directly. It's just that's just the way the dice rolled. Six people were going to die on my ship. So, and I don't want to control who those six people are other than the chance of whoever happens to light up the six torches. So that's interesting. Yeah. I don't
And
remember that in the original, but
yeah, that does happen in the original, except the
okay.
torches part. The six men getting sacrificed to Scylla is true, but the six
Okay.
torches is not.
Mm, interesting.
But Odysseus knows that six men are gonna die on Scylla's lair in the original.
That I do think that having him ordering them to light up six torches does change things though. It's a subtle change, but it changes the meaning quite a bit. The fact that he specifically said light up six torches instead of
Yeah.
he knows that there are going to be six people who died. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, no, that's cool. I like that change actually. So
And in the official live stream with the canon animatics,
mhm.
Aurelius actually holds a torch for almost the whole sequence until he drops it eventually. So like
Mm.
Odysseus kind of wanted the Aurelius. It implies that Odysseus was expecting Aurelius to die at the hands of Scylla.
Especially after he found out that he opened the bag.
Yes,
That makes sense.
yes.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
All right,
Cool.
let's move on to
Hmm.
Mutiny by Riley G. Let's go.
Oh wow, animal death. I know this tune.
Tell me you did not know that would happen. Say you didn't know how that would end. Look me in the eyes and tell me, Captain, that you did not just sacrifice six men. Use your wits to try and say I'm crazy and mad. That this is all some trick the gods have sent. Tell me you did not miss home so painfully bad that you gave up the lives of six of our friends. When we fought the Cyclops, you were quick to hatch a plan. And when we fought with Circe, it was you who left behind no man. But when we saw this monster, we didn't take a stand. We just ran. Say something! I can't! Then you have forced my hand.
Lower your weapon.
No can do. You miss your wife so bad you drain the lives of your own crew.
Don't make me fight you, brother. You know you'd have done the same.
If you want all the power, you must carry all the blame.
Eurylochus, Eurylochus, Eurylochus. Odysseus, Odysseus, Odysseus. There is no price he won't pay.
I am not letting you get in my way! My brothers, why?
How are we supposed to trust you now? Now, your time has come, your luck's run out. Now, the time has come to shut you down. You relied on wit, and then we died on it. Whoa.
My head. Where are we?
some island. The first one we found, it's bursting with cows, just roaming around begging us to eat. So much meat, and hunger is so heavy. This statue, the god of the sun, don't know where it's from, but here's where we found all these cows to hunt. Right in front, and hunger is so heavy. Hunger is so heavy.
Please don't tell me you're about to do what I think you'll do.
Odie, we're never gonna get to make it home. You know it's true.
You don't know that's true. This is the home of the sun god.
I'm starving, my friend.
But if you kill his cattle, who knows what he'll send. This is the home of the sun god.
I'm tired, my friend.
But we're so close to home, this can't be where it ends.
How much longer must I suffer
Please
now?
don't do
How
this.
much longer must I push
I
through
need to
doubt?
get
How
home.
much longer must I go about my
Eurylochus.
life like this? When people die like this? Whoa. How much longer must we suffer now?
Reconsider.
How much longer must we push through
We can
doubt?
get
How much longer must we go about our lives like this? When people die like this?
Eurylochus, no! You've doomed us. You've doomed us all, Eurylochus!
Captain?
We need to get away from this island now! Grab an arm with all the strength your arms allow! These cows were immortal. They were the sun god's friends. And now that we've pissed them off, who do you think he'll send? Full speed ahead! Full speed ahead! Faster! Full speed ahead! Faster! Full speed ahead! We're too late.
So,
I really like this song a lot because I enjoyed the Luck Runs Out. Was that the other song?
yes.
Luck Runs Out. I really enjoyed Luck Runs Out a lot, and so the fact that it came back here again in this new situation and this new format, I absolutely loved that a lot. And I think the other reason why I love this is because the conflict that gets presented to you, I don't blame either side. Like, I get both points. Like, of course the men are frustrated. Of course they want to, cause a mutiny. Of course, Eurylochus doesn't trust Odysseus anymore. It makes total sense. But at the same time, I also get Odysseus. Like, of course, he needed to do what he had to do because he was presented with an impossible choice, and he had to pick your poison. What's the lesser of the two evils here? Like, do I sacrifice 6 men or do I sacrifice everybody? Like, or risk the lives of everyone? And I think that is just like the unfortunate tragedy of any leader. Is every leader has to do their best to make the right decision. They're gonna get it wrong sometimes, and even if they get it right or pick the lesser of the two evils, they get blamed for it anyway. And part of being a leader is that people have to trust you to make hard decisions, the really tough decisions that for them they might not be able to make. So if Eurylochus was the leader instead of Odysseus, who's to say that Eurylochus would have done anything differently up to this point? And so, but it's hard for those men to see that because they themselves didn't have the quote unquote luxury of being the leader and going through what Odysseus had to go through. So it's a horrible situation. I don't have an answer for what should or shouldn't have happened during that thing, because the men ultimately are going to do what they think they need to do, and Odysseus is going to do what he thinks he needs to do, and that's an obvious clash. Um, so I, it's just what it's very painful about tragedies, because I think what makes tragedy so painful is this, it's these really messed up situations that you can't ultimately blame all of the parties. Um, if I were to blame anyone, I'd blame the gods. If I were to blame anyone, because they kind of, in some way, influence them into this situation. Um, and maybe if some of the gods kept their egos in check, because the fact that they're not human, human nature, humans can't help human nature. That's kind of just like what they were built in. That's kind of built into them. So it's hard to, um, punish somebody. Like, can you really punish a lion for attacking, um, someone if they've been provoked? Like, can you really punish them for that? Because they don't know any differently. That's just in their nature. So gods, who are supposedly supposed to be above humans, they can't even get their stuff together. They can't even get their stuff together. So why mess with the humans who are supposed to be beneath them? Um, yeah, yeah. So anyway, getting back to this, the part where they end up in the sun god's island, and Eurylochus is very adamant about killing this cow, and Odysseus is telling him no, 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 and you know, Eurylochus made probably the worst decision, probably the bad decision. I think there was a lesser evil that he chose not to take, and now everyone's gonna pay the price for it. And it's just this unfortunate domino effect again. And I don't blame Eurylochus for doing what he did, because he's sort of been put into this desperate situation. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the universe, the world, the gods, however you want to call it, painted them into a corner. And when you're put into that situation, people are gonna flail, and they're not thinking straight, and they're, you know, more bound to making the wrong decisions. But can you really blame them for that? I wouldn't. But I think they're gonna pay the price anyway. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen two people describe the situation as suicide by God.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
Eurylochus and the men know for a fact that if they kill this cow, they're gonna die.
But they're gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're gonna do it anyway because, as Eurylochus says, like, they're never gonna make it home, according to him. But
Mm-hmm.
he's given up. All the men have given up. So they're like, we either eat or we either die, and we're okay with both, you know.
Yeah. It's yeah. No, I'm glad you say that, because I think that is a very accurate parallel for people who have those sort of feelings, the suicidal feelings. And because you feel like you don't have a choice, you
Yeah,
feel like, you know, hey, if I'm going to suffer or die anyway, I'd rather take it upon, I'd rather be with my own terms. Like, I'd
hmm,
rather either die by my own terms, or yeah, I can choose to keep going and suffer through it, or I could decide, you know what, I'm just going to kill this cow and just let fate run its course. But at least I'm the one who is in control of killing this cow and sealing my fate, instead of letting whatever happens nature wise to whatever. So I think that's a really interesting point that you make, because I feel like anyone who's been in that situation, um, kind of can understand that a little bit.
yeah.
So
I, as someone who has been in that situation, as you very well know,
mm-hmm.
I totally get it. Like, yeah, just let fate decide, and I will make my choice. And
Yeah.
when I've had, suicide attempts, this is
Yeah.
very personal. I don't know if I let it out or not, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally up to you.
yeah,
100% up to you.
when I've had my suicide attempts,
Hmm.
it's been similar. Like I take these pills and I'll either die or I'll go to the hospital and get the help I need.
Hmm.
Like for
Yeah.
me, it's a win-win because I'll get help or I'll die, and I'm okay with both.
Mm.
You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
here really,
Yeah.
because it's the same thing. Like he'll either eat
He'll either
or die.
he'll either eat or die. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I see that. I understand that.
it hits really close to home.
Yeah. Well, if you do decide to include it, like, I thank you for opening yourself up in this medium, because you didn't have to do that. If you do
Mhm.
decide, you didn't have to do that. So I appreciate your openness, not just to myself, but whoever ends up watching
Yeah.
this video.
All right.
Um,
Oh,
Before we move on, there's
okay.
one last thing, because you have this image here. I'm I have guesses as to why the blood is yellow. I have guesses because I think it's an interesting choice for the blood to not be red.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know if I want to keep that to myself right now, or if you want me to say what's in my mind. Like, what
Remember,
do
these
you?
are fan animatics. Like this is the artist's choice to give the cow gold
Right,
blood. Yeah,
right.
it's not necessarily canon. And Jorge actually wanted it to be canon, but when the animation test started to happen, he said it
Yeah.
looked like mustard. So he was like, you know
Oh,
what? Let's just make it red. Let's just make it red.
okay, okay. Well, one thing that I thought was interesting is that I think with Cersei, in one of the other animatics, I don't know if this is the same artist who
No, it's
did.
not.
Okay, okay. So, okay, well, that's interesting, because for the other artists, when they did the animatics for a Puppet Master, I think, or
Puppeteer.
the Puppeteer, um, it was also grayish. Like, the overall color scheme of the animatics was in gray, but every time she cast magic or she showed her power, it was in yellow or gold
Mm.
or whatever. So I think that's interesting that once again it's this yellow or gold color
Yeah,
against the grayish
background.
image,
Yeah.
background. Yeah. So anyway,
But yeah, that's completely up for the artist and make each animatic. It could be a coincidence, it could be a consensus. I don't know, but
yeah,
yeah.
interesting. Oh,
All
here we
right.
go.
So this is Thunderbringer by Anna
I love.
Flama.
Nice.
Let's go.
Pride is a damsel in distress, hiding away where only I can undress her. Trial she cannot to confess. In the end, it's all the same once I apply all the pressure. Thunder, bring her through the ringer. Show her I'm the judgment call, the one who makes her kingdom fall. Lightning, wield her, use and yield her. Show her what she can't conceal, for true nature will be revealed. Tell me, Odysseus, if I were to make you choose the lives of your men and crew or your own, why do I think they'd lose? Enlighten me, King of Ithaca, since hunger was far too great. I wonder who'd take the weight of the damned and suffer a gruesome fate. To the thunder bringer, here to bring your ears until you're deaf with fear and
Someone's gotta die today, and you have got the final say. You or your crew? Please don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. When does a comet become a meteor? When does a candle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? Does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does a reason become a rain? When does a man become a monster? Captain?
I have to see her.
But we'll die.
I know.
Thunder, bring her through the ringer. Show her I'm the judgment call, the one who makes her kingdom fall. Lightning, wield her, use and yield her. Show her what she can't conceal, for true nature will be revealed.
So,
I really liked how it ends because I think it kind of validated what I think is the price for his choice, because I definitely want to get into the rest of the song, but because we ended with what we ended with, he again, Odysseus is given this very tragic choice. Does he kill off all of his men, or does he kill off himself? And to be fair, if I want to keep some of the facts here, to be fair, Eurylochus was the one who made the choice to kill off the cow, and Odysseus was the one who was telling him not to do it. So, I mean, if you want to say you make your bed, you lie on it, Eurylochus is the one who probably should pay the price and not Odysseus. That being said, though, I do believe the noble thing to do would have been to sacrifice himself, for Odysseus to sacrifice himself. And again, I wasn't. It's easy for me to say because I'm not in that situation myself, but I'd like to believe, I'd like to imagine that if I were to place myself in Odysseus's shoes, I would have chosen to sacrifice myself. And the reason I say this is because even if I were to survive, and I were to come back to, Penelope. Even if I were to come back to Penelope, I am no longer, at that point, because of the things that I've done, including choosing to kill off Eurylochus and his men, I am no longer the same person that I was when I last saw her. I am no longer that man. I am now a monster that I don't think is even deserving of Penelope anymore. You know? So what I'm trying to say is I'm dead anyway. And by choosing to kill off those men, I am losing myself and Penelope anyway. So why not choose the lesser of the two evils and die with at least some integrity intact? You know, die as somewhat of a flawed hero than continuing on as a monster. So again, it's that whole thing about what I said in a couple of videos ago, where I said it's not about how long you survive, it's about what you did, how much integrity you had during the short time you were alive. For me, like, that's more important. And so I liked that at the end it showed that, hey, even if he ends up returning back to Penelope, she's gonna reject him, or he's lost her anyway, because now he's turned into this monster. That Penelope, that if I was wanting what was best for her and wanted her to be happy, I would not tell her to come back to me in the state that I was in. So that I kind of like that a lot, because it was very much in line with what I was thinking. Obviously, the story is about Odysseus, so of course he's gonna live. Of course he's gonna choose to kill off the other men, which I know he didn't take lightly. I know that ultimately that wasn't what he would have wanted, but he had to pick between him and them, and he chose himself. Um, so there's that. Um, I loved the guy who plays Zeus. Um, he had that booming voice that I expected him to have. He his instrument, from what I am not surprised by, is an electric guitar.
No, it's
So
electric brass.
electric brass. Okay,
Yeah.
it's an electric something. It's
Yes.
electric something. So that makes perfect sense. And I'm trying to decide if I favor Daddy Poseidon or Daddy Zeus, because they're both very daddy. I feel like Daddy Zeus is slightly more my type. Slightly more my type. I don't think that I like his personality. Knowing what I know about Zeus, I don't like his personality. But aesthetically, I think he's more my type. But anyway, no, it was the animatics was really cool. I love the imagery of the Thunderbird, I think, because I know that that's a mythological creature, a Thunderbird. And just seeing the striking down there, sorry,
Yeah.
right there, seeing the striking down of the lightning and the crash of the thunder. It definitely was very different tonally from the previous songs that we've heard throughout this entire saga. So yeah, very cool.
Nice. So with this song, we reached the end of the Thunder Saga.
Oh, I also wanted to say one more thing. This was not intentional whatsoever, but because of me uploading the recent video, as of this recording, I just uploaded the Cersei saga, and you know how the YouTube algorithm posts like clips and other YouTube videos in my feed. So I wasn't looking for any spoilers, but I saw a thumbnail. I did end up seeing a thumbnail by accident of the singer who sings as Zeus for this song, because I saw the Thunderbringer title and I saw that the guy was singing it. He's not a bad looking dude. I have to say he's not a bad looking dude at all. So I was like, oh, he's Zeus.
Luke Holt is that nice dude.
Luke Holt is his name.
Luke Holt, yeah.
Luke Holt. Yeah, no, he's. Yeah, I liked him. Yeah. Anyway, thought I had to include that as well.
Right, of course. So yeah, so we reached the end of the Thunder Saga. What you think about it?
I liked it. I felt that overall, other sagas had more memorable songs overall, if I have to say. For sure, the one that I think I liked the most was the last song, the Mutiny song, just because I really like the When Luck Runs Out or Luck Runs Out song a lot. So I think that's a natural choice for me. The Thunderbringer is my second favorite song out of his set. And then after that, I thought the other three were fine, but I don't particularly remember them as well as some of the other songs. And then just in general about how I'm feeling about the story at this point. Like, I saw it coming, so I was prepared. I am just continuing to watch this train wreck, knowing that it's going to continue being a train wreck, but I kind of have to know what happens at the end for sure.
Right.
So it's sad because I know that Act 2 is that turning point where he's officially become this monster, and now you just kind of have to see what the consequences are.
Right.
Even though it's not 100% his fault that he ends up the way that he does. I think the only thing that I would quote unquote fault him for, if I was, and I'm not, and I don't blame him for not choosing this route, but I do believe that he could have taken the noble way out of sacrificing himself for his men. I think that's probably would have been, at this point, that probably would have been his best play in that moment, um, and hope that he ends up, at least for the time being, ends up with his mom, hopefully, like in the end, and then maybe joining with hopefully Penelope in the afterlife afterwards. I don't know. I think that's his best bet. Now, because of what he chose, I don't think he's even gonna get that in his afterlife. That's the thing. I'm that's what I worry about. So
Right. So my favorite song was also Mutiny,
mm-hmm.
and the second one is Different Beast, because I really like it. It always gives me shivers when the sirens are begging for mercy,
Yes.
and it goes to show how much Odysseus has changed. It's up for debate, but yeah, it goes to show his development and how he's truly become a monster, and the lyrics says
Yeah.
so. Like the lyrics says so. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I go back to the very first song of the entire show. When does a man become a monster? I think is that
that's
the
the
lyric,
second one.
or the second one,
Yeah, when
and
does a
it's
man become a
but is that the
monster?
lyric? When does a
Yes,
man become a monster? And that's the part that I remember, because when I think when did it happen, it's not just one moment. It's gradual. It's a process. It happens over a specific length of time. So answering that question, when does a man become a monster? It's hard to really pinpoint. You can't really pinpoint when. It just happens over the course of time. So yeah, that's one thing that I think I had to that struck me a little bit. So
yeah. All
yeah,
right.
okay. Well, thank you again, everyone, for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed our thoughts, some of our musings. Feel free, as usual, to chime in the comments about anything. I'm curious if any of you, especially if you are familiar with the original Greek mythological story, how you feel about some of the changes, how some of the tweaks, especially the siren section where they got brutally murdered. Are you 100% on board with that? Do you kind of feel like it was or wasn't balanced in the sense of changing things or modifying things? Um, and then just I guess, how, if you are able to weigh in, like, what are your feelings on the morality of this story and this whole process of Odysseus turning into a monster after all of this? So, curious if you want to chime in the comments. But thank you again, Alexandra. It's been fun. Looking forward to the final three sagas of this act. And until next time, everyone, love yourselves.
And love each other.
Bye bye.